had a great summation all worked out, full of some sharp, lawyering stuff, but I'm not going to read it. I'm here to apologize. I am young and I'm inexperienced, but you cannot hold Carly Haley responsible for my actions. I set out. Now, through all this legal maneuvering, something has gotten lost. That something is the truth. But what is the truth? Now, it is incumbent for us lawyers to not only talk about the truth, but to actually seek it, to find it, to live it. My teacher taught me that. Let's take Dr. Bass for an example. Now, obviously, I would have never knowingly put a convicted felon on the stand. I hope you can believe that. But what if I told you that the woman that accused him of rape was 17? He was 23. She later became his wife, bore his children, and she is still married to the same man today. Does that make his testimony more or less true? But what is it in us that makes us seek the truth? Is it with our minds or is it with our hearts? I set out to prove that a black man can receive a fair trial in the South, and that we all were created equal in the eyes of the law. But that's not the truth, because the eyes of the law are with human eyes, yours and mine. And so until we all can be treated equal, justice will never be even-handed. It will remain nothing more than a reflection of our own prejudices. So until then, we have a duty under God to seek the truth, not with our minds where fear and hate turn commonality into prejudice, but with our hearts where we don't know better. I want to tell you a story about a little girl. And I want to ask you all to close your eyes while I tell you this story. I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to yourselves. Go ahead and close your eyes, please. I want you to picture this little girl coming home from the grocery store one Sunday afternoon. Suddenly, a truck races up. Two men jump out and grab her.
Okay, look, don't disconnect from us.
Okay.
You're retreating a little bit.
Okay.
You're doing amazing.
I want you to picture this little girl walking home from the grocery store one sunny afternoon. Two men jump out and they grab her and they drive her out to a nearby field. They tie her up and they rip the clothes from her body. Now they climb on. First one, then another, raping her, shattering everything that's pure and innocent with a vicious thrust.
Let's just stand still and say all of this. Go back to the top, not to the top, but to where you start with the story. Do you have an inner object in place?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's make sure that's in place and stand firm where you're at.
Okay. I want to tell you a story about a little girl. I want to ask you to close your eyes while I tell you this story. I want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to yourself. Go ahead and close your eyes, please. I want you to picture this little girl walking home from the grocery store one sunny afternoon. Suddenly, a truck races up. Two men jump out, grab her, and drag her to a nearby field. They tie her up and rip the clothes from her body. Now they climb on. First one, then another, raping her, shattering everything that's innocent and pure with a vicious thrust and a fog of drunken breath and sweat. when they're done, after they've killed her tiny womb, murdered any chance for her to bear children of her own.
Don't censor yourself when you say that.
Don't.
You held back a little bit. No, they have to understand that that's what they did. Say it loud.
And when they're done, after they killed her tiny womb, murdered any chance for her to bear children of her own, to have life beyond her own, they start using her for target practice. So they start throwing full beer cans at her. They throw them so hard that it ripped the flesh all the way to her bone. Then they urinate on her. Now comes the hanging. They have a rope. They tie a noose. Imagine the noose pulling tight around her neck, and then a sudden blinding jerk. Imagine her feet. Imagine her body being raised into the air. Her feet and her legs are kicking, but they don't find ground. The branch isn't strong enough to hold her body, so it snaps and she falls back to earth. So they pick her up, toss her in the back of their truck, drive out to Foggy Creek Bridge, and pitch her over the edge. And her body fell some 30 feet down all the way to the creek bottom below. Can you see her? Her broken and beaten body, full, soaked in her urine, soaked in her semen, soaked in her blood, left to die. Can you see her? I want you to picture this little girl and imagine if she was white. Defense, raise your honor. Sing.